She walked into the Blacksite with insults echoing in her ears. Just the captain's niece, they sneered, yet one word from the captain made every doubter stop in their tracks. Commander, Navy SEAL. If you love your mom and dad, hit that subscribe button and show some well-deserved support for her. The sun was barely up when Commander Elise Hawk McAllister arrived at the remote facility deep in the desert, the edges of the American flag patch on her shoulder catching the faint dawn light. The road in had been long and punishing, sand, heat, isolation, but it was nothing compared to the message she carried and the whispers that accompanied her entrance. They called her the captain's niece, implying that her presence here was privilege, not merit. The moment she stepped out of the transport, arms crossed, desert breeze tugging at the hem of her uniform, she realized that every eye in the compound had already placed a label on her. The Blacksite's concrete blast walls, the tall guard towers, the rows of armored vehicles waiting under the pale sky, they all seemed to stand sentinel to either her failure or her triumph. She chose to believe it would be the latter. From the start, they mocked her, the seasoned operators who'd been here longer, who had earned their scars and their nicknames. They heard of her, Elise Hawk McAllister, daughter of a highly decorated officer, yes, but they assumed she was set up, given a role above her experience. They chuckled when she said she'd served tours in Iraq and Africa because they thought she only got the medal because of her bloodline. They questioned her in briefings, captain's niece, desk duty, show pony. She ignored it. She stayed silent, let her actions speak, even as they watched her. The compound's mission brief arrived, a hostage situation overseas, intelligence that a terrorist cell in a collapsed state was moving American citizens to an abandoned outpost and using it as a bargaining chip. The Blacksite in the desert was a staging ground, anonymous and off the radar. The command center buzzed with analysts, maps scattered across tables, satellite feeds blinking. The operator scrolled photos of frightened hostages. The mission? Insert at midnight. Secure the compound. Extract hostages before the cell could transfer them across the border. This was real. No ceremonial tours, no press release, just cold steel and a deadline ticking down. The problem was that Elise had just arrived. The schedule said one of the elite SEAL teams would lead, but delays and a sudden injury left a gap. The captain of the operation, Captain Mark Reynolds, had called her in, despite the objections behind closed doors. He believed in her. The team's skepticism crackled in the air when the captain assembled them, rough-looking men and women who'd earned their stripes, and one new face standing in the flank, calm, uniformed, unproven. He said, "Commander McAllister will be my point. She's leading this insurgent." The room went silent. Mockery paused. Uncertainty filled that space. But Elise didn't flinch. She listened. She asked questions many others didn't because she felt she had to earn trust. She walked into each hangar, inspected gear, asked operators about their concerns, their tactics. She watched the pilots pre-flight. She listened to intelligence analysts talking about the target structure, a dilapidated warehouse, shipping containers, the hostages locked in an underground vault. There was a twist in the intel. The terrorist had wired the vaults with explosives triggered by cell phone signal. Worse, one of the hostages was the daughter of an American diplomat. Time compressed. Failure meant not only loss of life, but international incident. Night came. The desert wind howled. The team boarded the choppers, the rotor screaming above the sand. Elise sat strapped in, helmet on, headset crackling with last-minute changes. The mockers watched her closely. In the moments before insertion, Elise's sweat beaded on her forehead. No sign of weakness, but the adrenaline pulsed. When a chopper landed, they moved swiftly. Night vision goggles flipped on, infrared beams painted the scene. Elise led from the front, sneaking past perimeter lights, disabling motion sensors with a soft click, advancing until they reached the warehouse door. The mockery of the team was gone, now replaced with cautious respect because she moved like she knew this ground. They breached. Smoke grenade popped, flash and noise, bullets ricocheted. The operator to Elise's right took a round in the shoulder. She didn't hesitate. She bandaged him, gave him orders to fall back if needed, kept moving. Down the corridor, they've discovered the vault door. The keypad was rigged to detect tampering. Elise pulled the explosive training kit from her pack, attached a bypass module, and whispered, 3 minutes. Operators positioned themselves at the entrance. But then, the twist. The intel was wrong. The terrorists had planted a second fuse. The vault door began to hum. Elise shouted, "Abort! We need another route." She redirected the team, found a maintenance hatch the analyst had missed. They squeezed through, found the hostages trembling. The diplomat's daughter was there, pale, shaking. She looked at Elise and said, "Thank you." That moment crystallized the meaning of everything. Elise didn't cling to her lineage. She understood service. They made it out, hostages safe, choppers waiting. But one more curveball. As they exited the compound, the terrorists detonated a diversion explosive, collapsing a section of the perimeter wall. The extraction zone was compromised. Elise looked at the map on her tablet, calculated an alternate route through the sand dunes under fire. The operators followed her lead. Bullets zipped above them. One operator fell. Elise dragged him to cover, radioed the chopper pilot, "We're moving west flank 300 meters. Pick up ETA 3 minutes." The sand glowed orange with explosions. The pilot landed on a ridge anyway, against protocol, but she saw him, nodded. The team loaded the wounded, the hostages, then Elise jumped last, scanning for threats. She caught sight of a terrorist sniper aiming. Without thinking, she raised her rifle and returned fire. The sniper went down. The team boarded as the rotors hummed again. The wave of relief as they rose into the sky was as loud as any cheer. Back at base the next morning, the mocking faces were gone. The captain called everyone to formation. He said, "By order of command, I address you all. Commander, Navy SEAL, Elise McAllister." Silence spread through the room. Then one operator clapped. Slowly, others joined until the sound filled the hangar. Elise looked at her mother and father in the stands. They blanched, proud. The doubters, some still looked away, but the respect in their eyes was unmistakable. The captain handed her the name tag and the black-on-gold sealed trident pin. That symbol wasn't about bloodline. It was about earned trust, battle-tested grit. The mockery faded in the echo of that moment. Weeks later, as she sat on the veranda overlooking the ocean, a few of the same operators came up to her. One of them said, "We didn't think you'd make it out alive." Elise smiled quietly. "I didn't think about it," she said. "I just moved forward." And that was the difference. The whispers of nepotism died in the sandstorm of the Blacksite, replaced by stories of leadership under fire. The captain had taken a risk on her, and she proved that hope could be born in a place of cynicism. Yet the twist wasn't just her success. One of the intel analysts turned out to be the mastermind of the entire terrorist cell planted within the ranks. When Elise discovered and alerted the captain, the entire mission pivoted. The Blacksite had been compromised from the inside. That piece of betrayal cut deeper than gunfire. The team couldn't trust their almost secure channels. Elise's calm under that revelation, her decision to proceed anyway, saved lives. The mockers saw her not as a captain's niece, but as the one who spotted the traitor, adjusted the plan, and kept people alive. When the medal ceremony came, the junior officers and enlisted looked at her differently, not as someone given a chance, but someone who earned it. She repeated the motto, "Ready for sea, ready for shore, ready to fight, and ready to die." She added quietly, "But I came back so others could live." There were tears, there were fists in the air, and there was a hushed moment when one of the operators, who had mocked her at first, shook her hands and said, "Welcome aboard, Commander." And so the story of the Blacksite, of the secret mission, the betrayal, the rescue, in which a young officer walked in under suspicion and walked out as a leader, became legend in that unit. Not because of the captain's name, but because of the name she forged with sweat, courage, and steel. The mockery was silenced. The whispers of nepotism turned into nods of respect. In the heart of the mission, in the bunkered halls of secrecy, in the desert wind, she found her place, her name, her purpose. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment and let us know, where are you watching from in the country today?